Hi guys, also if you're enjoying my videos, don't just watch it, make sure you don't forget to click on the subscribe button at the bottom. I'm going to go through quickly the first three games of the Warriors and the Timberwolves series. It's been a pretty interesting series so far. My pick before the start of the series was Warriors in 6 or Warriors in 7. However, Steph being injured in game 2, that definitely changed the landscape of this series, because I believe if Steph is injured and supposedly he's supposed to be back for game 6, but now the Timberwolves are up 2-1. Do you push Steph Curry to come back earlier? I don't think it's worth the risk, because if you come back really early from an hamstring injury like Steph has, I believe that it could hinder his chance for next year as well. You're better off. You're down 2-1. Try your hardest next game to win. If you can get to a game 6, try your hardest to get to a game 6, because if you rush Steph back too quickly, we're sitting with James Harden and Devin Booker, where hamstring injury is going to hamper them for the next couple of years. And player of Steph's style, running off screen, hitting trees, you need your legs underneath you to be able to do all that. So I believe if Steph is healthy enough to come back before in game 6, bring him back. If it's not healthy enough, don't try and push him. It's not worth it, especially if you look at the long-term goal. So in the game 1, Warriors stole game 1. I felt the Timberwolves were very timid in game 1. I couldn't believe what I was watching, because this is a different Timberwolves that I watched from the previous series against the Lakers. They were all chirpy against the Lakers, but against the Warriors, they're very timid, and Warriors' experience took advantage of that. Steph Curry had an okay game. Jimmy Butler had a good game, and Buddy Hield had a fantastic game. Shout out to Buddy Hield so far as well. He's been doing well. I think the last maybe couple of games, he's been very well for the Warriors. And in game 2, we saw Anthony Edwards and Julius Randle come to life. Same thing they did to the Lakers in game 2. They were absolute bull. They were getting whatever they wanted. But I like the way the Warriors still put up resistance, unlike the Lakers. Warriors put up brilliant resistance. I think Warriors are the best defensive team in the playoff left, in my opinion. And then in game 3, it was a very interesting game to watch, because without Steph Curry had to basically create a new style of play on the fly. Without Steph, your style of play completely changes. Like, Steph Curry is a generational player. Without him, your style of play completely changes. That's why Steve Curry is one of the greatest coaches of all time. Came up with a new style of play. They shot less trees and they shot more mid-ranges and took the ball to the basket more. I know they lost. However, Jonathan Kuminga had a 30-point game. Jimmy Butler had a 30-point games. These are good signs. If you told me before the game that Jimmy Butler and Jonathan Kuminga are going to score 30 points each, I would think that the Warriors would have won this game. However, the Timberwolves were brilliant down the stretch. It was hard for Anthony Edwards to figure out the Warriors' defense at the start. In the first 2 quarters, it wasn't great. However, mid-third quarter and towards the end of the 4th quarter, Anthony Edwards was fantastic. I felt like it was rushing the shots and his plays in the first 2 quarters, but in the last 2 quarters, Anthony Edwards was fantastic. Like, Anthony Edwards is that type of player where he's so athletic. When he rushes things, it doesn't work out. So when he let the games come to him, it seems the game just worked out much better for Anthony Edwards. Like in the 4th quarter and late in the 3rd quarter, it was absolutely fantastic. I think he ended up with, a 30-some point game he ended up with? It was absolutely amazing. And Julius Randle as well. That guy is one of the strongest basketball players I've seen. He literally gets, and his passing in the game 3 was fantastic. I think he had a high 20 game triple-double. It was amazing to see him be that comfortable to be making passes and getting huge rebounds for his team. And he was basically controlling the game when Anthony Edwards wasn't having the best of game. Then the 4th quarter, late 3rd quarter, early 4th quarter, Anthony Edwards completely took over. I expect more of the same in next game, in game 4. It'd be interesting to see if the Warriors can replicate. It'd be interesting to see if the Warriors, basically Jonathan Kuminga and Jimmy Butler, can replicate what they did. And maybe Draymond can contribute a bit more. Maybe Podziemski can contribute a bit more, because I felt Podziemski had a poor game. Podziemski has a very mature game. However, he made a couple of poor shot selection yesterday. It's very unlike him, because he has a very mature style of play. He always hustles for rebound. He hustles hard on defense as well. That's why I like Podziemski. However, I think in game 4, he has to be a little bit better. If he can contribute a little bit more, better shot selection, maybe swing the ball a bit more to the corner for Buddy Hield to make some more trees, I believe the Warriors can win game 4. However, if the Warriors lose game 4, I believe this series could be dead in the water. The last game we're going to touch up on today is going to be the series between in the East between the Celtics and the Knicks. this is a very interesting series because everyone picked the Celtics, including myself. However, the Knicks went to TD Garden in Boston and stole 2 games. So they were up 2-0 in the first 2 games, which was unthinkable because the best the Knicks would have hoped for was 1-1 going back to the Madison Square Garden. However, in the first game, the Celtics blew a 20-point lead, and the second game they did the exact same thing again. The big plays for me comes down to Jalen Brunson, absolute baller. His mid-range is absolutely fantastic. When he gets to spot, especially in the fourth quarter, he's unstoppable. That's why he got the Clutch Player of the Year award in the regular season. Just don't let Jalen Brunson get to a spot, because when he does, he is unstoppable. He will make that shot. It is a 3-point shot, whether it's a mid-range jumper, whether he brings it to the cup, whether he gets fouled and shoots free throws. Jalen Brunson can do all. He's a 3-level scorer. He's amazing. He's absolutely fantastic. And also, what I also know with the Knicks is they have brilliant defensive players. Mikal Bridges is fantastic. OG Anunoby is fantastic as well. They're basically 2-way players. I think they built the roster very, very, very good. I think the roster is mainly built to build the Celtics because they have brilliant two-way guys where they can get you points and they can also defend at a high level. And they're very lengthy as well. Like Mikal Bridges is lengthy. Karl Anthony Towns, it might be a bit zesty, but he's still a very good player. He's a double machine. And I believe his tree as well his tree has improved a lot. What I would also say is with the Knicks, I still believe the Celtics are going to win this. I think you can book it. I think the Celtics are going to win this in 6 or 7 games. I don't see any way the Knicks actually beat the Celtics over 6 or 7 games. Game 1, game 2 it was very strange to see the Celtics throw away a 20-point lead in both games. But game 3 in Madison Square Garden, I believed it was a legacy game for Jason Tatum. Jason Tatum did okay. I thought his overall game was good. However, I'd like to see him score a bit more. I think with the Celtics philosophy is they basically throw up a bunch of trees every single night, and every single player on the Celtic team can make trees, which is, when you think about it, the way the NBA is going, when you have players like that, more than likely they're going to end up winning. So the Celtic philosophy, when the shots are going in, it looked brilliant, especially in game 3. Their shot making was fantastic. I think they made their first 7 or 8 trees. Jason Tatum made like 4 the first 5 he put up. It was absolutely amazing. However, what I would say in the next game is a game 4. Celtics need to win. They need to win this one so they can go back to Boston with the series level. I think the Knicks are going to be. The Knicks look completely out of depth when the Celtics are on fire. I was loving the way Jaylen Brown came out last night. He came out with purpose. He shot a 3 okay, but he kept taking everything to the basket because he's a very strong guy. Jaylen Brown was what, 6'6", 6'7"? He's a very strong guy. When he takes things to the basket, there's very little people that can actually stop him.